hello. This is a assembly video on how to put together one of our wood cabin saunas. And for the demo, we have a one-person wood cabin sauna. This is the bottom. You've got panels stacked up here against the wall. After you receive the sauna, you want to uncrate everything, stack everything up in the area where you're going to set things up. And I'm going to quickly show you how to put this together. So first you'd find the piece that is the floor. Here in the shop I've got some material on the floor just to prevent this from being scratched while I work with it. And the floor does have a front and a back. Your front will be marked. There'll be a piece of blue tape on there that says front, and there's also a little hole, screw hole in the front that you won't find on the back. So I'm going to take this, put it down on the floor. Now, when you do this, initially, you're going to want to leave some space between here and the back wall. Later, you can push it up tight to the wall. But for now, you're going to need to actually get behind it, put some screws in, so you'll want to leave some space so you can walk behind there. To get this started, it's very helpful to have two people because the pieces are big and bulky. I only have one person here, but I've done this a lot, so I can work this out. We're going to start, and this is the way I would recommend that you start, and it's the easiest way to put this together. You're going to start with the light panel. Okay, this is the panel that will eventually get the light fixture mounted to it. It's got a wood strip down the face and a hole in the bottom for the cord. Okay. Take my shoes off here so I don't scratch the floor. What you do is you pick it up and you drop it down into the track. There's a little track on the edge. The panel will fit nicely right in there. Okay. And in a minute I'm going to be out of view because I'm going to be behind the sauna, so I'll be describing what I'll be doing. This piece is the back. It would be this one here, sorry, that's the front. On every panel, there's a label as to where it goes, and that label is written across the top. Okay, so all those labels need to face up when you put the sauna together. So what I've done here is I've dropped this piece into the channel also, slide it around so that the joints overlap. And this is the tricky part where you really want two people. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some screws in the corner joint here, and we'll get this fastened. This is one advantage of being tall is you can see me while I do this over the sauna wall. So I'm putting these screws in the corner. I'll show you more how this joint goes together on the front because it is the same joint as we work our way around. When you do put these screws in the corner, you want to line up the corner. The heights of the panel should line up because they're all the same height. Now, the next piece I'm going to put in is the back piece over here. I have the screws that come in a pouch that's labeled joining strip, and these screws are 1 1/4 inches. What else I'm going to do is, excuse me, put this piece of foil here. This is just for me, so I don't get the floor here dirty and scratched, because this is a production piece that's going to a customer in California next week. So, now this piece, the label's here. It says back left, and it has an arrow on here on each side. Okay, one arrow on this corner says center, meaning the center joint, and this side has an arrow that says seat, meaning this side where you sit down. Likewise, this panel has a label up here that says light, meaning this side faces the light panel, and center, this side faces the center. So, what we're going to do, we're going to drop this panel into the strip. Now you can see, I'll show you, right here, this is a little piece of wood that is a joining strip. It's going to cover the seam, and again, when we get to the front of the sauna, you'll be able to see this much better. This piece is a little tricky because you don't have much room to drop it in place. There we go. It's in there nicely. Now what you're going to see is this seam opens up. You're going to want to pull it tight like that. Okay? There's a little play here, and this will happen because most people's floors aren't going to be perfectly flat or perfectly level. However, the holes are milled in a place that will straighten the sauna out when it goes together, so you won't have to worry about your floor being a little off. Now, we're going to come across the front of the sauna next. Okay, we'll come across this way, and then the last piece to go in will be over here. And this I found is the easiest order of pieces to put in. So we'll be looking for this piece, which is labeled front left. And when this goes in, you'll be able to see the seam that covers the front of the sauna. So again, here's the front left. Drop it into place. Okay. Now again, this corner, we're going to line it up. When you put these pieces in place, the front pieces, let me put this screw in place. Hold on. I'm always going to start with the top screw. Okay. And you're going to run your finger down the side and pull this seam to where these pieces line up. And what you want to watch out for is right here. Okay, if you pull this front piece this way quickly with a lot of force, you might push the trim out on the corner, which you don't want to do. It's not the end of the world. It's just cosmetic, but it's something to be mindful of, to be gentle as you're moving these pieces around. So here I am using my thumb to feel this joint, pulling it tight, putting the screw in. Okay. These pieces, they move around a bit. Okay. Now we're going to do the door. And the door has a set screw in place. And that set screw comes for a reason, and it's to protect the door from swinging open when you set it. Okay, so here's the door panel, and right here is the screw. And the door, when you get it, it's going to be labeled. You don't take that screw out until the panel is in place, because it's much easier to work with without the door swinging open and swinging around. The door handle will go on afterwards. And now you'll get to see how that joining strip works. The front of this piece here is going to go behind the joining strip. I have to slide the sauna this way in the track. Make a little room. There we go, drops right in. A little tricky, and it takes a little bit of time to get the hang of it. Having done many of these, I've pretty much got it down. I'll put some screws in the joining strip. I'm pushing the joint tight as I put the screws in. Now I did something there that I don't recommend. When I set this panel in place, you notice I took my hands off it and let it float. Don't recommend that, especially with the glass door. Okay, we got our last piece here. Now, just going to carefully drop that into place. This piece here I'm going to push forward. I'm going to try and push forward. So it's at the front of the track. The piece in the back, I'm going to slide back. That gives me as much room as I can have to fit this in here. And drop it in carefully. And there we go. And again, you don't want to take your hands off this until you have a screw in it and you know it's solid and the joint is solid. As we did on this side, I'm going to run my finger down here, push this joint tight, okay, because it's a little bit, it's not totally aligned. And we're going to do that simply by pushing this joint around. Once the screw finds the pre-drilled hole, it'll pull it right into alignment. This screw I'm going to have to wait for a second because I need to move it soft from the inside. I'm going to take out the door set screw. Now I can open the door. Okay. The bottom of this panel needs to slide forward a bit. screws to put in the back. Okay, so that's the first part. Now's the time that you want to hang the heater on the back wall. And the reason you want to do it now is because with the ceiling off, there's plenty of light and it's easy to see what you're doing. So I'm going to grab the heater, show you how the brackets mount on the back, and then I'm going to hang it on the back wall. Okay, this is another piece of the sauna that's best handled with 2 people. So, because this heater is heavy, it's on the large side and it's heavy. This heater is not completely finished, but it'll serve the purpose for the video. Simply put these 2 brackets on the back, there's 2 screws in each, and on the inside of that wall there's a wood strip running down, and you'll see 4 pilot holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just screw this on the wall, and then the cord will run out right through the back. So I'm going to put this on, and unfortunately you can't see it because it'll be inside the sauna, but you will get an idea of how quickly you can do it and how easy it is. We're going to do that right now. Down here, and there we go. Very easy, very straightforward. I'm going to put the door handle on. On this door here, there's a little, probably hard to see on the camera, but a little pencil mark here. So I'm just going to erase that. And those are the measurements from me setting the holes for the door handle. You may find an occasional stray pencil mark. If so, I apologize. There's a lot of measurements, a lot of cuts go into making this sauna. So what I did is I took the screws for this handle and put them in through the back. There's a couple of round countersunk holes. Okay. In they go. Just like that. Pretty simple. There's the door magnet, which will catch the door. Now, we've got two more steps. One is to put on the roof, and the other is to fasten the door set screws to this panel, and the door will move inside that channel. It has a 1/4 inch to play, and the set screws will hold that in place. So when you put the ceiling on, this is a 2-person job. I'm going to do it with 1 person. Show you how you can do that, but I don't recommend that. It's a large piece, it is heavy. Here is the ceiling, and you can see there's a piece of blue tape, right, which indicates the front, right here, and there is a hole drilled in there. Ceiling basically just drops into place. It's got the same channel design. You're going to move it and wiggle it, and there you go. Walk around and inspect it. Make sure it's down on all sides. And you're going to have the 2 screws that are the set screws. And what you're going to do, you're going to put them in here, okay, just to the surface. And that's it for now. Just to the surface. And that will stabilize this front piece. And what you can do is if you tighten that more, this panel where the door is going to come forward. If you tighten the bottom one more, it'll come forward. And sometimes, if the door doesn't close correctly, you can adjust it a little bit, make it a bit of a tighter seal. It's not designed to be airtight. Okay, there's going to be a little bit of air movement through the floor and through the corners, just a little bit, and that's okay. That's actually very okay. You do not want it to be airtight. So here you go. Take a look. I'm going to grab the camera in a minute. First I'll put some bulbs in and we'll turn it on. And the stool's not in there. The stool comes in a kit that you put together, very easy. That's much easier than this, but as you can see from the video, this really is not that difficult to put together. And it goes together pretty quickly, pretty simply. So this is painter's tape. You just pull that off, like that, and you're good to go. Okay, I'm going to load up the heater now, and we'll check back in a minute when that's done.